Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt talking with Cyndi Pressler about CALM, Certified Assisted Living Management. It's a course that she provides. There's an upcoming course in March the 11th to the 13th. You can get more information from her about that at info at Care Consulting.
Care Home. Info at carehomeconsulting.com. I think I confused y'all.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I want to give you one more chance to win a free hat. You can call the station at 210-308-8867, 210-308-8867, because I'm remembering the Alamo today. February 24th, 1836 was when Travis sent a letter asking for help because he was under attack at the Alamo. You can also text Todd at 210-538-4770. Text Todd at 210-538-4770, and I'll give you a free hat just for interacting with me today. So this is our fourth segment, and because Marquardt Law Firm sponsors the show and we focus on business and estate law, I like to talk about legacy.
And now, it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
So we know what Travis's legacy was because everybody remembers the Alamo. I mean, that's the theme. And so I wanted to ask you, what do you want people to remember about Cyndi Pressler?
How much I love what I do, how much I love and enjoy people, and how passionate I am about my fellow man and understanding and caring about your community and living up to your potential. That's my theme. Give what you can while you have an opportunity. And if you don't know what it is you can give, start a journey to figure out what that is for you, because that's how we become community. That's what the guys at the Alamo did. They gave their all in really dire situation. And Todd, you mentioned to me that not coming from Texas, you were shocked to find out that they didn't win the battle, that they lost the battle.
Yeah.
And just, I have a saying, and it's common. You'll know what it is. It's nothing unique, but I have it written on my whiteboard at home, and it says, every day I show up. Doesn't matter if anybody else does, but I show up.
Amen. Yeah. And now you'll have a recording to share with your children and your 19 grandchildren of the lessons that you want them to remember about you. Just like the Alamo, I mean, the Texans left that property. That's something that we can leave to our loved ones. Is there anything that's special to you that you inherited from somebody that passed away before you, or something that you're going to pass down that is like a family heirloom that is going to be meaningful for somebody?
When I was a little girl, I would spend summers, every summer, some amount of time with my grandmother and on their farm. And she had, I don't know if you know what a sideboard is, but it's a dining room or eating room piece of furniture, and usually that's where they kept their best silverware and coffee servers and things like that.
I have seen that before.
Mm-hmm. Well, my grandmother's sideboard didn't have any of that. It was full of black and white tintypes and all kinds of mementos from her life and Granddad's life, and it might have gone back to people I didn't have any idea who they were. But my favorite thing to do there was to sit down in the living room floor and dump out all those containers of photographs and go through them and have Granny tell me stories about them.
Oh.
And so I did that for my children and grandchildren, and they have everything on their phones. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be really fun one day when they inherit that big sideboard that I have that's full of postcards and mementos and little silly drawings and things that they all gave me, and it's all in there, and it's terrible. It's not organized at all, and I'm so excited they're going to have to sort through all of that because it's going to be really good for them.
Yeah, I love that. My grandmother and my mom, they had some of those same things. Lots of black and white photographs, and my grandmother had this toy cat that it was kind of like a stuffed animal. I don't know how it was made. It isn't anything that you would buy at the store today. It was a homemade stuffed cat, and it's the ugliest thing you ever saw. But I know it was hers, and I know it was important to her because it survived, several generations now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those things are really cool. So when I was thinking about your question, I thought, well, when my parents both passed away, by the time they had both passed away, I had already decided I wasn't going to hold on to things. So I divided everything up that might have be considered an heirloom. My mother's fruit bowl, my grandmother's sugar cookie, tea cake recipe, my great aunt Susie's pie dough recipe, things like that I do want preserved. And I just told the children, come, you're going to take what you want now and hold on to it. And if you don't want it, that's okay. We're going to take pictures and we'll have a story about it. So I've kind of done all of those kind of material things. Mm-hmm. Of course, I came and talked to you about what do I do with my business money and things like that. So we're working out a plan for that. But as far as the non-material and the things that I hold valuable, I have another cabinet that's full of my writings, published or not.
I'm glad you said that because I've been trying to remember to ask you about your poetry.
Yes, so I do write poetry. I also do write fiction, and I just write little snippets of stories of our lives and things like that to leave for my kids. I have a series I'm working on called My Backyard, and or Monday Morning Musings or something. I don't know right now. Anyway, it's stories of everywhere I've lived that, whether it was the country or city, the life that goes on in my backyard. Okay. And so I've got a lot of cousins and people that really enjoy it. So things like that, I want to leave them. But I love poetry. I'm a very different kind of poet. And I think poetry and fiction can tell truth in a way that truth cannot sometimes, because it can make people think and wrap their heads around a truth that maybe they're not really willing to believe otherwise. Mm-hmm. So it makes a safe place for people. It's also just fun entertainment to make things up.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I love my poetry. I didn't finish a degree in writing or anything, and so I might be called a frustrated writer, but and maybe never get the full recognition of being very accomplished, but the people that I do share it with seem to be blessed. And I had a great opportunity this year to co-write a hymnal book with a friend who is a composer, and she wrote 25 songs, and I wrote 15 complimentary poems to go with each music piece. Mm-hmm. So that was a wonderful experience of digging deep and finding out, can I write anything on purpose?
Yeah.
So that was a great experience and a great opportunity. I've enjoyed that.
And is that available on Amazon?
No, we wrote it. She's such a unique person, and her father passed away, and she has now an ill spouse, and she's been inspired during the last 3 years to really express her faith. And she had a legacy money from her dad, and she's using that to write primarily for her children, for leaving a legacy for them. Mm-hmm. And I was invited to join. So I asked her about publishing and on Amazon or something, and she said, I'm not really interested in doing that. You can do what you want. I haven't done anything with it yet, but mostly it was for friends and family.
But you could.
I could.
She gave you permission?
She did, yeah.
Well, let's work on a written note from her that gives you that permission.
That'd be great, Todd.
Because then, if you don't get around to it, maybe your kids will want to publish it.
They might want to. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, you're so busy.
I am. I have a ton of things I want to do, and my passion really is writing now, and I'd like to, before I might lose the opportunity to be able to do so, I'd really like to pursue that and finish a couple of novels that I want to get written and stories for my kids.
Yeah,
grandkids.
but you're also doing this assisted living management course.
And that's a passion. I don't want to give that up because, just like the Alamo and different things, history has a way of losing some of its truth. Gets changed over the generations, and the stories change and get shortchanged sometimes. So the same thing happens in business, and especially in this industry with just the terminology and where did this come from and why is it so important? And it has some very important value for the next generation that's going to be taking care of you and me.
That's right. Going back to the course and your consulting, I was just imagining that maybe there's some assisted living operators out there that are already started. They've been getting along, doing the best they can, but maybe they're extremely frustrated. Maybe they're having a hard time making a profit. Maybe they're having a hard time with the state regulators. Mm-hmm. Can you help them?
Yes, absolutely. Remember a few minutes ago I said the first time you take the course it's required to have 24 hours of certification, and every year you have to renew at 12 hours. Why would you need to do that? Because rules change, policies and procedures change. We now have, just before COVID, I'm not sure of the exact time frame, but during COVID certainly, the Department of on Aging, Department of Age and Disability Services merged again and changed its name to Health and Human Service Commission. Behind the scene, what that means for the consumer is, excuse me, agencies merged, which means people's jobs merged, and you have new eyes looking at old regulations and a previous way of doing things, and that always means change. And when there's change, it affects the consumer. One of the things that happened to me one time working at the state was I had to serve on a special policy committee to help tell the governor at the time, which was Bush, why Medicaid policies that they wrote at the state level might not work well at the working level, at the county level, the city level. So that happens with everything. Is what we're doing working still? Mm-hmm. And so that's what's happening now. When you have rule changes, that changes the playing field.
Right.
So you might not know what those are. Maybe you're too busy running your assisted living in your business. I know that. I don't have time to keep up with the news because I'm so busy.
Yeah.
So I have someone that keeps me up with the news on important things. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what a consultant does. That's what some of our CALM does. That's what we have once a month, which we don't publicize. Everybody who takes our CALM course can participate in our once a month lunch and learn training. Okay. So that helps people stay up, move forward. So if you're already operating, you may need help with rule changes and with how's that going to affect me.
Okay, well, we've come to the end of the show. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
I've had so much fun.
Me too.
Learning about the ABCs of assisted living.
Yep.
And you've heard it here on Talk Law Radio. Listen online on talklawradio.com or YouTube anytime. I'm Todd Marquardt. I'll talk to you later.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.